Gen Z is easily one of the most difficult generations to live in financially. A lot of things you'd expect to have in a normal life is now a luxury. Getting a job as a new graduate feels impossible, the housing prices are through the roof, even food costs hella. Like if you wanted a simple meal from a restaurant, you'd expect to be spending $12 because that's what the price says on the menu. Then you get hit with a tax, service fee, extra charge for the sauce. You just got robbed in broad daylight and they're still asking for a 20% tip. Working a normal job used to be enough to get you a decent home and support your family. But nowadays you gotta be working overtime on that job, have an extra 2 side hustles, and then maybe, just maybe, you can afford that shoebox apartment with some McDonald's quality Wi-Fi. From a logical standpoint, it would make the most sense for our generation to be the most financially conscious when it comes to how we spend our money. If we want even a chance of obtaining a level of financial freedom, we better start collecting cans and pinching pennies, you know? But there seems to be a weird phenomenon where we've done the complete opposite and just gave up entirely. This is Gen Z's consumerism problem, where our generation is overbuying a ton of items we either don't need or we can't afford. It's our way of saying,
it's not like we can ever save up enough for anything sustainable, so might as well spend it all and enjoy everything now.
That's why you see a lot of younger people dripped out in expensive designer or driving a fancy car. Meanwhile, they're paying $1,000 a month for their car payment while they only have like 2 cents in their bank account. It's obviously a financially irresponsible thing to do, but at least it makes them happy, for now. But the idea of consumerism isn't something I can fully blame on our generation because of how the system is set up. The whole point of marketers and advertisements is to try to get you to go buy a product. And with the internet in 2025, everything is now an ad. You can't go on any site or app without 20 items being shoved in your face. Like with the new iPhone 17 that's out, you've probably seen a bunch of videos and reviews trying to urge you to upgrade, even if your iPhone 13 still works totally fine. Every 1 or 2 scrolls on TikTok is a link to buy something that I didn't even know I needed.
Your balls fucking stink and you keep giving girls yeast infections because you use body wash down there. Boy, what did you expect? You need to get some of this pH balancing.
Nigga, if you want full eyebrows, long eyelashes, and full hair, keep watching this video.
Damn, my fault. The amount of ads you see now are unbelievable. Sites will literally spam you a product until you finally make a purchase. And it wasn't like the old days where you had to head over to a store to make the purchase. The button is right there on the screen. Your mobile pay is already linked to your phone, and you're just 1 click away from making a small $10 purchase. And that small transaction doesn't seem like a lot, but that snowballs into making a million other microtransactions. But even without ads, consumerism has become a trend. Whatever is popular at the time, influencers start posting about it and their product gets hyped enough to get a horde of people to buy it. Then when the trend is over, we pile it onto our collection of junk while we seek out the next trendy item to throw our money at. We saw it with the Stanley Cups, we saw it with the trendy clothing, we saw it with the Labubus. And it doesn't stop with tangible products, it's in food and activities. Again, I'm gonna talk about the influencers, but I would watch one of these food reviewers talking in that tone. Come with me to discover the best place for brunch. And they glaze the restaurant so much that I gotta check it out. Then come to find out, they're serving food that tastes like chalk. It's not necessarily a new or bad thing, as consumerism is necessary for our economy to strive, and everyone contributes to it in one way or another. Whenever you make any purchase that makes you happy, that's consumerism. It only becomes a problem when it's out of control. And this is where I feel like we are at fault. Cause yes, the system is kind of built off alluring you to spend money, but it's really up to you to control yourself and make decisions on what you want to buy. It is your choice to scan your credit card at the card reader. And we need to have the financial responsibility to be smart and control ourselves from buying things we don't need. No one forced us to collect the Labubus and no one forced us to dine in at that overpriced restaurant. I'm guilty of overspending too. When I got my first job in high school, I spent a stupid amount of money on my shoe collection. These shoes have been sitting here since I was in high school. I'm not gonna throw it away because like I spent so much money on them, but at the same time, it's really hard to sell because you might as well just go to a regular store and buy the shoes. I was a straight edge in high school, but some of the decisions I made makes me wonder if I was on some sort of substance to be such a dumbass. I think we sometimes forget that even though consumerism gives us satisfaction, it's only temporary. Once you make the purchase, the feeling of obtaining something new flees pretty quickly. Which is why we get trapped in this cycle to keep on buying, feeding that high, but keep needing to refill that tank of happiness. It's a net negative because you're chasing a materialistic thrill while draining your wallet. And I luckily came to the realization that buying more shit doesn't make me more happy. But things only got worse when we got introduced to the buy now and pay later, or as I like to call, consumerism final boss. Buy now and pay later is a financing option to purchase a good now without paying the full cost up front. This concept isn't anything new. The most similar thing we're familiar with is a credit card. But the catch is usually that if you don't make those payments, interest builds onto it, which makes you owe more money over time compared to if you were to pay it in full. But in this case, for buy now, pay later, there isn't interest. So on paper, there is no catch. The only catch is the psychology behind it. This video from Grant Rudo exposes the truth behind the buy now and pay later trap. The form of payment is an indirect way to make consumers keep buying more. An iPhone sounds way cheaper when you're spending $250 in an installment rather than spending $1,000 up front. If you don't have the money now, you could just split the cost to your future self. And this causes a really bad habit of people buying stuff that they don't really have the money for. Just a few months ago, I overheard some people talking about concert tickets, like they gotta go, they gotta get the VIP seats, and they're on a payment plan for like the next few months to pay it off. I'm gonna be honest, concert tickets are expensive, and I do love to see my favorite artists perform, but you will not see me going in debt for them. But at least I get it, concerts are expensive in general, and it's something that you might not want to miss out on, especially if it's an artist that doesn't perform that often. But it gets worse. Look at these $100 shoes, and let's say you only have $25 in your bank account. Thanks to buy now and pay later, you can now buy those pair of shoes guilt-free with the $25 you have with no interest. And people actually do it. Do the shoes you're walking with not work or something? But hold up, it gets even worse. Cause buy now and pay later is in DoorDash, which means you can now split that little McDonald's combo into monthly payments of $3 and finance your meal. You technically don't even own the meal you just ate. I don't think there's a justification in financing unnecessary items you can't pay up front. Cause 99% of the time, you don't really need that concert ticket, you don't really need those pair of shoes, and you really don't need that DoorDash order. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And while they're making it easier and easier to spend each day, it inversely makes it harder and harder to save. Bad spending habits isn't something that's going to be noticeable in the beginning, but that regret starts to creep up once those monthly payments pile on. Those poor financial decisions are going to hit when you're 30s or 40s. We all know the saying that money can't buy happiness is false, because eating at that steakhouse will definitely put a smile on my face. But the more important thing that money can also do is buy comfortability. Yes, you can get a thrill off making big purchases, but if you hold that money with you, you get a sense of security that you wouldn't get off living paycheck to paycheck. For example, if something breaks down in my car and it needs fixing, I'm chilling. It'll be a pain in the ass to pay, but I can pay it off. But if that happened to someone who's living paycheck to paycheck, that might be the end of the world for them. They'll either have to go in debt or find some crazy way to cough up that money. I'm not talking about everyone, but I feel like most of us are in a position where we can save a decent amount of money. I'm talking about the people that can actually, skip out on a cup of coffee and a couple other expensive and save $50 a month. And that money is going to build up and come in handy in the future. I made a video of me investing $1,000 in the stock market and seeing the growth of my money in 8 months. And though I'm not a financial advisor and I don't got money like that, it was interesting to see how much money can grow when you invest it. And a lot of people are missing out on an opportunity like that because they constantly drain their bank account to zero. Don't get me wrong, I still agree that the economy is pretty cooked for Gen Z, but it doesn't mean we should double down on it and give up on our financial habits entirely. Anyway, this video kind of ended up spinning to something different than I had in mind, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.